So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 21 of our F1 Manager Season 3 here on the channel. Now if you didn't watch the last episode, go back and watch that one from Mexico City because it was a fantastic result for Pierre Gasly, getting a podium once again. Lando Norris in P5, a decent day once again for Andretti Cadillac, but a very good day for the Ferrari boys. Charles Leclerc and Checo Perez getting a 1-2 on the day, which means if we have a look at the standings at this moment in time, we are currently 27 points in front of Ferrari in P2 going into the last few races. It's going to be very, very tight towards the end. Driver standings wise, Max Verstappen has won the Drivers' Championship, as we know. George Russell's in P2. Lando Norris not that far behind him, it must be said. 35 points behind George Russell. Pierre Gasly now up to P6 in the Drivers' standings. Of course, just a quick look at the F2 Driver standings. Frederick Veste is top, and the F3 Kayo Collett. So that is everything basically. We are going to be going into this sprint weekend. It might not be the best Grand Prix for us. If we have a look at what the car attributes, we are not the best at low speed cornering. Top speed we're not too bad, so there is some cause for optimism. Expected strategy is the 2-stop. You can go soft, medium, soft, or maybe you try the 1-stop with the hard. Of course, we will play all that by ear, but I'm going to get through practice and I shall see you in qualifying for the Brazilian Grand Prix. I've got to say, we have just witnessed one of the worst qualifying laps by Lando Norris in a long, long time. He's out in P14. Pierre Gasly is in P7 at this moment in time, but my word, he was around 7/10 off his teammate there. Unbelievable. So just the one car in Q3, and that's Pierre Gasly. This is it then, Pierre Gasly on his one and only flying lap in this session. It was very, very wet at the start. It's now bone dry on the circuit here at Interlagos, and Pierre Gasly round in the final corner. Then he gets his foot straight down to the floor all the way to the line. Pierre Gasly, what can he do here? Goes P4. What a lap from Pierre Gasly. We've got a couple yet to finish, but Pierre Gasly is going to start tomorrow's sprint in P5. We're expecting a bit of rain as well, and there is a lot of cars with grid penalties for Sunday as well, so there's a lot to look forward to here. Let's have a look at what the rain's going to be like tomorrow. Right then guys, sprint race time. Now we've had a look at the tyre selection. It is going to be dry, so we've got a choice between the softs and the mediums. Apparently there is nothing in between them, so looking at tomorrow's race, I want to save the soft compound tyres for tomorrow, so both cars on the medium. Let's see, hopefully Pierre can stay where he is and Lando can move forward.
24 laps around Interlagos awaits these drivers in what should be an entertaining sprint.
The 100-kilometer dash around Sao Paulo is typically packed full of overtaking opportunities, making for a thrilling event as the season nears the end.
This is it, a dash to the finish line. 24 laps around Sao Paulo in today's sprint. And it's lights out. And away we go!
And away we go, and straight away Verstappen and Russell leading into turn 1. Mick Schumacher in P3. What a qualifying session from him that was, by the way, yesterday. Stroll and Albon in P4 and 5. Gasly straight away fighting with the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll and doing his utmost to stay in P5. It could be a long old day this for Pierre Gasly, who's got to just try and maintain as high a position as he possibly can, and it looks like Lance Stroll straight away has got him in the first sector of the first lap. He's now up into P5, and Pierre Gasly having to get a little bit defensive here because he's got cars passing him left, right and centre. Lando Norris into P15 at this moment, lost the position off the start, but it all Constantina's up in towards this middle sector. Piastri wants to avoid him. Him and Piastri had a shocking first lap in Q2 yesterday, but look at that from Lando Norris. What an overtake that is. Back up into P14. He's got Carlos Sainz in front of him. Pierre Gasly dropping off the back of this Aston Martin at the moment. It must be said, struggling at this moment in time. Very unusual indeed. Lap 1, Verstappen leads from Russell. Gasly P6, Norris P14. Lap 5, Gasly going backwards rather than forwards. Valtteri Bottas managing to get past him. He is going to get DRS now. It is Pierre Gasly, and down into this left-hander. Can he get the move done? He certainly can. Just down the inside. Is he going to force the Audi a little bit wide? He is. We're going to continue with this battle. It's Bottas versus Gasly, and on board, it must be said, it looks like Valtteri Bottas has got in front, and he certainly has. We've got a yellow flag on circuit. We'll see who that was for, but Pierre Gasly just not have the pace. Nick De Vries is running wide at turn 4. Let's have a little look at this here. Just carries on straight, and he must admit that is some real dangerous rejoin from Nick De Vries. But Pierre Gasly now down in P7. He's got to tag onto the back of this Audi sport car, because keeping the Ferraris behind us, remember, is our real battle. We really need to defend from these Ferraris. Lando Norris in P14, not really making moves at the moment, but it must be said, we are looking after his tyres quite well. Long way to go. Lando Norris, as we come on to lap 8, has got Carlos Sainz, and my God, did he need to do it. Lando Norris now up into P13, looking now to try and get back towards Zhou Guanyu. He's got DRS as Lando Norris, but we've got a yellow flag on circuit. Looks like we've had a crash on circuit, and we can see Verstappen is the one tumbling down the order. This looks a serious incident at the front. Let's have a look. Oh my word. 2 Red Bulls colliding. This looks a shocking... Oh, it's just poor driving, and you've got to say that looks massively Max Verstappen's fault. As the expletives come out, Max Verstappen crashing into his teammate and goes tumbling towards the back of the grid, and that will be a free position for Pierre Gasly and Lando Norris. So Gasly now in P6, Norris P12. And it gets worse for Red Bull, because not only did Verstappen crash off, but now George Russell has had to pit and go all the way to the back. Meanwhile, Sergio Perez has managed to get past Pierre Gasly. Not ideal at all. He's now right on the back of Valtteri Bottas, and Pierre Gasly struggling to keep pace with this Ferrari. Lando Norris, however, now up into P10 and can see the couple of Ferraris in front of him. I don't know what fuel they've put in this Ferrari. We're going to have a full rundown, but Checo Perez is now leading the sprint race. He was behind Gasly. He's just cut through the pack like you've never seen. Perez is leading from Stroll, Schumacher and Bottas, Audi P3 and 4, Albon P5, Gasly P6, then comes Ocon, Leclerc, Pocher, and Lando Norris, who has got some wear on his engine, but that is something we've had to accept for this race and this weekend. We're going to have a little bit of wear on the engine, but needs must. But P6 and P10 for the Andretti boys. But Perez, what a race for him. And on lap 23, penultimate lap, the worst thing that could have happened has just happened, because Charles Leclerc now is in front of Pierre Gasly. Not ideal at all. He's not managed to deal with the Ferraris, or in fact have the pace all weekend so far. But Pierre Gasly now chasing after the back of Leclerc. Lando Norris burning up his tyres as well, trying to get past Porsche. We'll come back on the final lap. Last lap, and Pierre Gasly has been overtaken by Théo Pourchaire. How disappointing has Pierre Gasly been in this sprint race? We didn't think it was going to be the best weekend for us, but this sprint race has been very ominous. For Sunday's race tomorrow, strategy is going to be an absolute key part of it. But at the last lap, Perez is leading from Stroll. It's a 7-second gap then to Valtteri Bottas in the Audi sport car. I've not given up hope that Pierre Gasly might get him towards the line here. So let's not give up hope just yet. Pierre Gasly's more than capable of gaining this position back, as is Lando Norris getting past Porsche. Porsche's actually passed Pierre Gasly as well, so could we make up 1 if not 2 positions here in this final sector? Perez, it must be said, has drove some race today. What a race. Is he going to get the win? We're going to keep with this little battle, because Lance Stroll getting DRS up to the line, but it's not enough. But let's now keep an eye on Pierre Gasly, who's going to burn all the ERS in the world up to the line. It's not going to be enough, and it is going to be P9 and P10 for the Andretti boys. Little bit disappointing, that it must be said. Let's get to the full classifieds. And there we have it then, guys, as we saw Checo Perez gaining 7 positions, Stroll in P2, Bottas P3. Both of those have got grid penalties, as has Charles Leclerc and Théo Pourchaire. So we will move forward a little bit tomorrow. Let's have a look at what strategies we can do. Right then, guys, strategy time. We are starting P6 and P7. The 2-stop makes sense, and it makes sense doing soft, medium, soft. Both cars doing it. We'll adjust the strategy as we see fit, but that's what we're going for. P6, P7. Let's get to 5 red lights.
We're not too far away from the race start here as we edge closer to the 71 laps of the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. And here's George Russell settling in for the race.
Right at the back for this one, P20 with the whole field ahead of them. Surely a comeback is too much to ask for.
But just what will happen here, your guess is as good as mine. Who will win? Only time will tell, here at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. And it's lights out And away we go.
And away we go, and straight away we saw Perez and Mick Schumacher on row one, but we are going to be looking to make moves straight away here, but unfortunately it's going to be on each other because Pierre Gasly is past Lando Norris. We've got a yellow flag already. Sainz is out. Sainz is out in the Mercedes. Let's have a little look at what happened into turn one. I mean, they barely only got off the line. Carlos Sainz into turn one, battling with, I believe that's Porsche, is it? And it's just a little tap. Both of them managed to keep going. Is there going to be any damage there? We'll have to see. But as we get away, Perez leading from Ocon, Schumacher in P3, then comes Albon and Stroll, and then the two Andretti boys of Gasly and Norris. We've settled into it a little bit now, showing P8 Leclerc in P9. A lot of the cars in front of us on the medium compounder tyre, so we need to make hay while the sun shines here. First overtake of the day, and it is Pierre Gasly getting past Alexander Albon down the inside in the middle sector. That turns to the outside, but with those soft compound tyres, he managed to put the Aston Martin behind him. And now Lando Norris is going to be looking to possibly follow suit. But as we cut back to the live action, we can see Gasly and Albon still going at it. Gasly doesn't have DRS, Albon does. So this could be a difficult moment for Pierre Gasly, but he defends it beautifully well. And now he's going to be looking to get back up to Stroll in front of him, of which we are going to give him the attack and the deploy to make sure that he does. But that's the first real positive thing that's happened for the Andretti boys so far. That double helping of DRS helps, of course, but we can see the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc in our rear mirrors. One Andretti got past the Aston Martin, now the second one has. Lando Norris again, same move really. Lando Norris saw his teammate did it, Albon couldn't defend against it, and that is another car between us and the Ferrari of Leclerc. Lovely move by Lando Norris, and he's now going to be trying to get back in the DRS of Gasly, which of course he's already done. We're now P5 and 6, just behind the Aston Martin of Stroll. And for how bad Gasly was yesterday, he is absolutely firing on all cylinders today. He's now up into P4. Lovely work from Pierre. Down into turn one, and then of course gets that double open of DRS, and that's going to chase after the two cars in front. Pierre Gasly now up into P4. Lando Norris is now behind Lance Stroll, and that's keeping him. He's keeping the Ferrari at bay. It must be said, Perez is in supreme form this weekend, but Gasly now on the cusp of a podium, lap 8. And whatever Pierre Gasly can do, Lando Norris can do as well, because into turn one, Lando Norris passed the Aston Martin, and that is it. P4 and P5 now, as he finally does get this move done. I can assure you, as we cut back to the live action, Lando Norris is now up into P5. Pierre Gasly going for the move on Mick Schumacher, and as he comes around the final corner, is he going to get DRS here, Pierre Gasly? He certainly is, as is the Audi. It's a drag race down to turn one. Can Pierre Gasly get this move done? Will Lando Norris following through? Pierre Gasly certainly has got the move done as he moves Mick Schumacher to the right hand side, and Pierre Gasly up into P3 now on the back of his old teammate Esteban Ocon. And what was the worst thing that could have happened as he was flying away there, Pierre Gasly. He locks up, let's have a look at this, into turn one, he locks up, he hits Esteban Ocon, and that allows his teammate through. It's possibly a little bit of damage as well, but Pierre Gasly went tumbling down the order. It's disappointment in the Mercedes garage, it's disappointment in the Andretti garage as well. There is no damage to the car, but that has very much hindered his race. Lando Norris now into P4, and he's got Ocon and Schumacher in front of him. I mean, Lando Norris has obviously seen that opportunity, and now he's taking it, because not only did he get past Esteban Ocon, he then got past Mick Schumacher, and Lando Norris is up into P2. P2 on the day for Lando Norris. Can he possibly now look to chase down the Ferrari of Checo Perez? I think Lando Norris could possibly break DRS of Mick Schumacher here, and Pierre Gasly is right on the back of Charles Leclerc. He has got to attack the Ferrari in front of him. Lap 13, we'll have a full rundown. It's Perez from Norris, Schumacher, then Ocon, Stroll, Leclerc, Gasly, Albon, Zhou, and then Piastri in P10. The two Hugo Boss cars look like they're in a different formula. You join us back on lap 18. We can see Lando Norris still in P2, but Pierre Gasly is going for an undercut. He's coming in this lap, Pierre Gasly. That little incident he had with the Mercedes driver has meant that he needs to come in for a pit stop. His tyres are dead, and he's coming in now. Let's hope he gets a decent pit stop here, Pierre Gasly. I've got to say, I'm more than happy that he just didn't cause any damage to any engine parts, because that could have been terminal for Pierre Gasly. Let's hope we get a decent pit stop here. Is it a good one? It's not bad. 3.1 seconds. Pierre Gasly trundling out. We've got Tsunoda and Ricciardo just coming around the final corner here. Are we going to get out in front of the two Hugo Boss cars? Possibly not. They're going to get out in front of us, but we should be able now to go for a little bit of an undercut with Pierre Gasly. We are monitoring the situation with Lando Norris to see where we can get him out in clean air. Leclerc pit last lap. We are covering him off with Lando Norris, who's coming in to the pits. This should work okay for us. Pierre Gasly's doing well at the moment. He's got to get past Yuki Tsunoda. We're going to put him on high overtake aggression. Pierre Gasly needs to be making moves on these tyres, but in comes Lando Norris for a pit stop. Is it a good one? It's 3.1 seconds. It's consistent once again. Pierre Gasly's right on the back of these two Hugo Boss cars. Is he going to get a big undercut here? Lando Norris, where is Charles Leclerc? Charles Leclerc coming around the final corner as well. Lando Norris is going to be clear out in front of them, and I think out in front of the Hugo Bosses as well. That has worked very, very well indeed for Lando Norris, who's now out onto fresh medium compound tyres and can push on these now. Pierre Gasly had got to clear those Hugo Bosses, and he's finally done it. He got past one, and as we can see in the background, Charles Leclerc not having a good time behind this traffic, but Pierre Gasly is past both of them now and can now chase after his teammate, who's been pushing on nicely since he went into the pits. Last lap, he was very quick indeed, Lando Norris. He's really picking the pace up now, and this is ominous for the... We may even get towards Perez at the front here. Lap 22, both cars now going on to double mediums, possibly softs with Lando. Esteban Ocon just coming out of the pits, and we can see how far behind he's dropped Lando Norris. The undercut so powerful here. We are just calming it down now a little bit on Lando's tyres, but he's performing very, very well at this moment in time. He's got peak confidence, and rightly so, because at this rate, Lando Norris, what was his last lap? A 1:10.9. He's gaining nearly 1.5 seconds on Checo Perez, and Pierre Gasly not far behind either. We have a virtual safety car, full course safety car. Now that is so interesting, because if we'd have pit a little bit later, we would have been miles in front. It's Esteban Ocon once again involved with an Audi sport car, cuts the corner, then smashes into the Audi. It's a little bit kamikaze, it must be said, but my word, Esteban Ocon, that is so poor. We're going to have a look at the strategy now. It has not been ideal for Lando Norris. I think Charles Leclerc pitted again. Charles Leclerc pitted again for another set of medium compounder tyres. Now, whether he's going to try to go to the end on them, we've stuck at it at this moment in time. We're going to have to make another pit stop. The hard compound tyres are going to die off towards the end of this Grand Prix, so we felt that stay on the medium compounder tyre and go towards the end. Gasly now in P7, Lando Norris in P2. As we restart, we should be in a decent position. Safety car is coming in. Perez and Norris both on the medium compounder tyre. Could be very interesting indeed. If we can stick with Checo Perez, this will be ideal for Lando Norris. I would fancy him to possibly look at well, he could definitely get a podium. Could he possibly get the win? I'm not too sure. But Sergio Perez has set off well. Pierre Gasly looking like he's going to try and attack the Red Bulls, which is going to be no mean feat. But Perez leads us away from Norris. Then comes Zhou, Stroll. Guan Yu Zhou in P3, by the way, in the Gulf Williams. Stroll in P4, Verstappen, Russell. Gasly in P7, Piastri P8, Albon P9, Leclerc in P13. Now, it must be said, Checo Perez is fighting with Lando Norris. We have told Lando Norris, don't bother fighting with Checo Perez, because what we need to do is ensure that we stick with this Ferrari, use his tyres, and then that will help us later on in the Grand Prix. But Lando Norris just behind Checo Perez at the moment. Pierre Gasly sticking with the Red Bulls at this moment in time as well. We are doing everything we possibly can. We will be quick towards the end of this Grand Prix, especially if these hard compound tyres don't pit. So it's still looking very promising. 4.7 seconds now is the gap from Norris to Lance Stroll, and Lando Norris is tagging onto the back of this Ferrari beautifully. Pierre Gasly's having a very interesting day here. Alexander Albon has now got him with DRS. You can see behind him, though, is the Ferrari. And Pierre Gasly's fight today is to beat that Ferrari. That's what he's got to do to achieve greatness today, is Pierre Gasly. And it must be said, he's doing everything he needs to do at this moment in time. You can see him holding up there a little bit as well. Lando Norris is still hanging on to the back of Checo Perez. It's been hard work for Lando Norris so far, but he's still just about doing it at this moment in time. We are going to be a little bit more aggressive on the tyres with Lando Norris now, but Pierre Gasly will be in at this lap. And Pierre Gasly is in to the pits. It must be said, Lando Norris looks like he's just dropped out of the DRS. He's going to get another helping of it. He's going to be out onto some soft compound tyres pretty quickly, Lando Norris. But in comes Pierre Gasly for his stop. Is it going to be a good one? 3.1 seconds it is again. He's going to be towards the back of the grid, but now he's on those fresh tyres. And Lando Norris is still sticking with Checo Perez at the moment. We've got a yellow flag on circuit. If that's a safety car, we're absolutely screwed. It's not. I'm hoping we're going to get a highlight, which we are. It's Nick De Vries locking up into turn 4. He's done this a couple of times today, as Nick De Vries, as he comes up to this left-hander, just doesn't get it stopped in time. And that Alfa Romeo HES looks a very, very difficult car to drive at the moment. But Lando Norris just about staying in touching distance of this Ferrari, and he's onto another set of softs towards the end. We've got a yellow flag on circuit once again, and let's have a look at this. I mean, it'd be a shame if this Ferrari got involved. It's Alexander Albon and the Williams by the looks of things, and they just clear themselves out of the way for the Ferrari. How disappointing is that when that Ferrari is cooking on gas at this moment in time? It's disappointing in the Aston Martin garage. It's disappointing for us, but it has meant that Lando Norris now can pit next lap, and he's going on to the softs. Checo Perez is off. Checo Perez, just have a look at this. I think he's had a spin, or has he gone wide? Let's have a look. Checo Perez goes off in sector 3, and he's had to stop for a long time before rejoining. And Checo Perez now tumbled all the way down to P6. Lando Norris is going to be pitting next lap for a set of soft compound tyres. This is going to be one very interesting end to this Grand Prix. Lando Norris is in from the lead of the Grand Prix. Lando Norris pits on lap 48. Now, I'm hoping to get him out in front of Sainz. That is my key here. If we can do that, Lando Norris is going to be incredibly quick towards the end of this Grand Prix. Is it going to be a decent stop? Oh, it's not. It's a shocking pit stop. It's 7 seconds. And how many times has this happened to us when we are in a position to win a Grand Prix? And look at the traffic that's just gone past. That is absolutely crucial. And now Lando Norris is going to have to do it the hard way from P14. That could have just screwed our race. Lap 48. Lando Norris is trying to make amends here for his pit crew. He's now back up into P10. He's been doing a lot of overtaking, has Lando Norris. And as we can see here, round the outside of that Hugo Boss car, as we cut back to the live action, he's now past Esteban Ocon. And how far away from Leclerc is he? That's the key here. Charles Leclerc is what? Let's have a quick look at this. Charles Leclerc +6 from the leader. He's around 17 seconds behind Leclerc. He's got to make these tyres work for him. But Lando Norris at the moment making moves, and that's another one. He's past Carlos Sainz. He's now got a 2.7 second gap to Zhou Guanyu. Now, very interesting. Leclerc and Perez have just pit. Pierre Gasly is in P11. He could stop Checo Perez today. Lando Norris, what have they pit onto? The Ferrari boys. That's the interesting thing. Charles Leclerc is on a set of soft compound tyres and has just pulled in front of a real gaggle of cars. So it's going to be Leclerc versus Norris today. Perez, he's going to find out how wide an Andretti Cadillac can be. It must be said, Pierre Gasly is going to have a very big impact towards the end of this Grand Prix. But Lando Norris, 15 seconds now from Piastri. He can make this. Pierre Gasly, he's up into the points. He's got the job done, and it must be said, it were a lovely move on Daniel Ricciardo. I'm kind of hoping all these cars stop out and cause a bit of traffic for Perez, but Gasly is negotiating them at the moment one by one. Lando Norris has just got his tyre temperatures back down to the optimal window, and Gasly now, has he got a little gap in front of him here? He's not. He's got Tsunoda and De Vries in front of him. Piastri pits. Whether the two Red Bulls have pit again, I doubt they will. We will have the tyres on the Red Bulls towards the end. Gasly has got to clear this traffic. A crash on circuit once again. It's Nick De Vries. Let's have a look. We can see Pierre Gasly here. What's happened here? There's a crash in front of him, and that really held up Pierre Gasly, and that is not ideal at all. It must be said. Gasly on the back of these two. He needs to get past these cars quickly because Perez behind is chasing. Leclerc and Norris are at a pretty similar speed at this moment in time. Norris is actually a little bit quicker at the moment, and he's looking to catch up to Stroll, I believe that is. 16 seconds to Stroll. Long way to go. And Pierre Gasly has got Nick De Vries. Lovely move from Pierre Gasly. DRS wide open, down the start, finish straight. By the time he got to turn 1, he got the job done. Pierre Gasly scoring points for the team today in P8. Norris, 15 seconds now is the gap to Stroll. Now, something rather disappointing has just happened because Charles Leclerc has managed to overtake Lando Norris with the DRS. Leclerc looks very, very quick today. But this might help us actually, because now we can share DRS, us and Charles Leclerc. This is not too bad because we can now hopefully allow Leclerc and Norris can pull themselves up to the front. And at this point then, we can take P1 and P2. Just depends which way it falls. Pierre Gasly in P7, now on the back of Zhou Guanyu. It's going to be double points for Andretti today. 10 laps to go. Now, it must be said, Charles Leclerc is burning up his tyres a lot more than Lando Norris at the moment, because Lando Norris has been taking it quite easy. They have been exchanging places, but we're now 8 seconds off Stroll, 10 laps to go, and the tyres at the front are going to be dead towards the end. So Leclerc and Norris in a really, really strong position here. Pierre Gasly, on the other hand, has lost a position to Piastri and Perez, and now he's trying to chase after both of them. It's tougher for Pierre Gasly at the moment, but Lando Norris is right in the fight for this win, as we can see both of them going at it again. And all they've got to do is pull themselves up to the front, and I think both of them will be on the podium, lap 63. We've got Ricciardo in a spot of bother, Crofty says. Let's have a look at what spot of bother he is in, up against the Aston Martin. Daniel Ricciardo at the back. And I mean, there has been some bad driving today around Interlagos. But bad driving is not in Leclerc and Norris's vocabulary, because they've been P4 and 5, 2.4 seconds off the front, guys. They are now really struggling. Leclerc and Norris has been topping up his ERS for absolutely ages. Pierre Gasly in P9 just lost a position to Valtteri Bottas. Gasly going backwards, but Norris right in the fight for this win, lap 68. Final lap of the Grand Prix, and it is Leclerc versus Norris, as it has been for a long time. Lando Norris has got to get this job done. We need to beat one Ferrari today. Can we beat the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc? Charles Leclerc doesn't have DRS. Lando Norris certainly does, and he gets him down the left-hand side. It's lovely work from Lando Norris. Can he stay in front of this Ferrari? There's two cars in front of him. I thought we'd get a podium today. It's not quite worked out that way at this moment, but Lando Norris doing everything he possibly can to beat Charles Leclerc on track today. Pierre Gasly's had a very disappointing Grand Prix. It must be said, another couple of laps, I think we would have been there and thereabouts. We are going to go aggressive on the tyres for this final couple of sectors. Should I say, Lando Norris, he's got a right battle just to keep out. If he can get in the DRS of Lance Stroll, which he may just have done, that may allow him to stay in front of Charles Leclerc. Lando Norris, is he going to get DRS? I don't think he is. He's going to have to defend from this Ferrari. And Lando Norris, as we run up to the line, it's going to be side by side. But Lando Norris gets it. Verstappen wins from Russell. Stroll in P3. Norris P4. Leclerc P5. Pierre Gasly all on his own. Going to come home in P9. That was a very important P4 for Lando Norris in the constructors' standings. And as we see Pierre Gasly cross the line, my word, what a Grand Prix.
What a remarkable drive by Lando Norris today.
There wasn't too much expectation on them today, but they fought hard and found themselves in the points.
But just look at this. The overwhelming excitement for those celebrating this achievement. Well, Max Verstappen can add yet another podium to his already impressive record.
The wins just keep coming and coming. We'll be running out of superlatives at this rate, Crofty.
And that means, here in Sao Paulo, it's party time.
Party time in Sao Paulo. 2 Red Bulls on the podium, getting 17 and 18 places each. My word, these Red Bulls and the Red Bull strategy, absolutely superb. Stroll in P3, Norris P4 as we saw, Leclerc P5, did get the fastest lap of the Grand Prix as well. Perez P6, Piastri P7, then came Bottas, Gasly and Carlos Sainz. Driver standings wise, Max Verstappen still leads the way. He's the the driver's champion, of course. George Russell in P2, gains a bit of ground on Lando Norris, but Lando Norris, decent result today. Pierre Gasly down in P6. That looks where he's going to finish. Constructors wise, it's getting closer and closer. The gap is down to 12 points between Ferrari and Andretti Cadillac. Red Bull have run away with it. Mercedes a distant fourth. We're going to finish second or third. Which way? We have got 2 more races left to see. If you've enjoyed that, please do like and subscribe, and I shall see you on the next one. Ta-ra!